So again, this is a start to a formal discussion and will lead to hopefully more opportunities for the city of South Fulton. So we will have a team go ahead and have Dan on the screen, and Dan, you have also your PowerPoint you were able to find online, so everybody has a copy of that in their packets. And so Dan, I'll let you start.
You all can hear the volume is very loud on this evening. And I apologize for the
Yes.
Okay. I apologize for the non-funny So, what I would like to do is this. There are some fundamentals that we need to talk about, and then how we get some particular cases. But I would like to have time to respond to the questions that those here made. So this is fairly, that's consistent with what we're saying, it's a fairly structured presentation. So I said earlier today, and I guess a few slides, they can come I just really just put that to make them run earlier when it's going over the presentation. So I don't know which you had in your page, but if you got the most recent one I sent it today, it's got to be for the range of the two authorities and several flow charts, because I was flow charts. With the meaning of that, the initial premise is this, that we need to focus on what we can do and compare that to what you should do. If you can do something better than what you should. And then I will borrow phrases that I can use my news at home the other day and say the things are always better than work together. So that's the beginning of this. If we look at what community did, we all go back to the Georgia Constitution, and you can see that first line for the community. We can get into the Constitution that made economic development public purpose of law for 1968 the Constitution was made. And it was in terms of trade, commerce, industry, and development opportunities. And that's the Constitution's definition of economic development and redevelopment. And also, the Constitution vested in the powers in development authorities and communities. In the Constitution, development authorities includes independent development authorities as well as citywide and countywide development authorities. So we all have our justice and the Georgia Constitution. And then the voters read the Constitution, but then developed some of those work. And what they did was to do two things. So drop into the citywide and countywide authorities, like the full constitutional powers. And by getting different kinds of information by the time before I in the subsection. Basically, the citywide authorities, they would look at the promote to the arbitrary zones and someone opinions. We have to that's putting the constitutional prohibition on prohibition on pension found by George Spring Court on authority, health authority, during pure project, for example. Later in that, I mentioned that the early 60s, the 1981, the downtown development authorities laws passed, which authorized basically downtown development authorities. And because it all goes back to the Georgia Constitution, the most that's being raised from that was the same as what citywide authority got, which is trade, commerce, industry, and development opportunities. But the Assembly focused on two things. They had to carry out their building mission by promoting redevelopment and revitalization. Only doing that within the central business district, which is the downtown development area, is determined by the local government city. So we have these two authorities, common counties, and potentially with the same powers, but actually with different focus. And if that's not enough, the general assembly also dropped into the power package to deviate some specific additional powers, I'm calling those nuclear powers, that state authorities don't have, but which can be very important for the EDA and carrying out its government mission. the central business district of the downtown area. So a DDA can serve as an urban redevelopment agency under the urban redevelopment agreement. So you are under the county URA. I don't know if the city is using the URA dollars and the head of the urban redevelopment agency can set up a resolution. But so you already can do cover projects, so that's important. Downtown and also mobilizes is carrying out supplemental services, technical services that businesses then can buy extra amounts of additional amounts of doing business and instead of considering the business opportunity. So the same thing there. Or people need that considered as a redevelopment agency under the balance law, which is tax allocation. So we are going to know that the school has three tax allocation benefits. The DEA is regulated, so they don't manage to both of them. And you're not going to do it in the middle of that. The DEA's jurisdiction is on the last of the two tax allocations. So that's how we start. This is what a lot of people do. There's a documentation, so it's in the tools that taking to projects. And about projects, because we don't talk about projects, but the parties have the same definition of project and the time to do something approved. Carry on and kind of different projects. The wording of the project definition is virtually the same between the citywide authorities and the DEAs. Any project that goes through a number of those list of things that trade economic and extreme format. So now all those time words, when you say sign, and you force the next step. Well, the next step might be looking at the geography that's involved, and I've already mentioned this. If we get a defined the grant of the project and the housing development, there is a provision that after the regulators could become authorized citywide jurisdiction for names for certain things when you define it as secret, and I'll get to that in just a second. It's kind of maybe irrelevant and so you think the reading is your business in the downtown development area. So what is that? So that area is from every area the city council funds the central business district at the time. So if that changes, then the council can change that. The top resolutions on the top of the state from the DPA, they are. You have a different jurisdiction. In my authority, its jurisdiction will never be within the city limits. So the city limits change to expand the contract. In my authority, jurisdiction to expand the contracts. Now, on top of that, you've got the jurisdiction of county development authorities, jurisdiction to South and you got joint development authorities, and there is a joint development authority in the fall. They are having a resolution in farm bills. I've never been doing the big market, so that's not something you can issue. But there has been some confidence and increase over time, not really between citywide authorities and between citywide authorities and county authorities on the other, and they'll bring the second law that was passed last year, and so when you come out of it, straighten that out on the north side, same thing. So, if we have a situation where city authority, county authority, JDA, comes to the central business district, projects, when they do that, why would they do that? What about citywide authority? What's another city in there? And there's a policy to do that. These are policy questions, and I think there's some issues that you can do that you're involved in some needed was an operating understanding between the two authorities and the on discussing. But in my view, one of the things that some crazy no idea and preaching is that it's imperative for our authorities, for the city authorities, even the development authority, even anywhere, even on the stakeholders. Economic development, and economic is hard enough. We cannot all pull together. Somebody's pulling one way and somebody else is pulling another way. And we're really making forward progress. That's what we're all trying to do. And I kind of want to work together to reflect the domination of your food and they have wisdom training for them and back and forth. But in terms of who the voters had decided is their representatives to their local laws into the mayor and council. So when we vote to them for guidance, at some time, the board members of the PDA and the city, they're subject matter experts. I don't feel like the subject matter experts, the central original thing. Because there is training, there needs to be that there is some. But that kind of training is experience. You go through these projects and you learn things through experience that you couldn't learn any other way. And somebody who is an elected official is trying to do a good job. And I know some of your elected officials, I know your city manager is a great person. And great people look to people who are experts in what the issue is, what the matter is under consideration. Not just to carry it out, if they're the ones empowered to do it. Remember, it goes back to the Constitution, who's got the powers. But also who's got the experience, comes back to that. And that's another reason that historically, when starting in 68, when authorities were authorized, and most of that was carried out by county authorities, and the cities are not terribly interested in it. The county authorities had things to do, so they did. And then it developed over time that cities began more and more wanting to take matters into their own hands, to control their own destiny. They developed more experience. They became more expert in their subject matter. And all these things combined to have cities and city authority, DEAs, be the lead on projects. I mean, I think I handled one of DeKalb County DEAs, the very first state level economic development project, very large headquarters project that had some R&D with it too, done by a DEA. County authority was not involved in that. So it's possible to exercise those powers in very creative ways, but it all comes back to who is best for that, who's got the power, what works best locally, and what these stakeholders think about it. So a couple things. I'll give you one more specific example of the property assessed clean energy financing mechanism, CPACE, that has been the longest been trying to get that law passed for a long time, and they finally did. And it's been around for a year or so now. The attraction to developers of that law is that they're told that investment bankers that this is how you get financing that you can't get any other way. You do a security deed or mortgage. They call it a mortgage. In Georgia, it's a security deed. It has first priority. It ranks right there with taxes. The lender is perfectly secure, and you're wanting all the money you want. If it looks too good to be true, it's probably not true. And I think one or two so-called CPACE deals done. That's I talk a lot about CPACE, but under the new law, I'm not even sure they've done one. But in the past, prior to the passage of the statewide law, we have. But the issue there, from my perspective, from a policy matter, is our Georgia law is pretty good. It's got some safeguards in there, including that existing secured lender, they have to consent to the new CPACE mortgage coming on. And why would they do that? That's subordination. So the CPACE lender is more than likely going to be a senior lender, maybe with a junior
But this financing is not going to be available unless, first of all, what the government adopts an authorizing resolution saying, yeah, we want to do C-phase. And then secondly, the bonds, the money to make the loan is raised through the issuance of a bond by a local authority. And after the last minute maneuvering, the only way the bill got passed that time was the original bill got defeated and it was snuck into a bill on arbitration. That happens a lot. General Assembly is not over until midnight on the last day. But in the course of doing that, CPACE was added to the Development Authorities Law, which governs citywide authorities and countywide authorities. They also stuck in at the last minute a provision saying, okay, the CPACE powers granted to citywide and countywide authorities are also granted to DDAs, but they neglected to put in the authorization for the cities and counties to do their part of the CPACE program as far as DDAs are concerned. So the complete package is available to the citywide authority, the countywide authority, under the Development Authorities Law with their city and county. But only half of the package is there insofar as DDAs are concerned. So DDAs are not able right now to participate in the CPACE program, even if the state wanted to. And if you go back and look over what I just covered in a short time, what you see is that you start out with basically the same files, General Assembly, change things a little bit, depending on what your project is, depending on what your problem is that you're trying to solve. You may find that one authority or the other authority has better powers to do whatever it is that you want to do. And that makes the decision easy. But when the jurisdiction overlaps and when the powers overlap, that's where it comes down to a matter of local policy. And around the state, I've been doing this a long time. Around the state, they've been called in cities occasionally to say the county's ignoring us, all they want is industrial projects. They don't know where downtown is, and we got problems. Can you help us? And yes, and so that's there's not much need to discuss. The county's not going to get upset if a city activates a citywide authority or a DDA if the county doesn't care what's going on downtown or within the city. But when we have a great group of people like we have tonight with different authorities, then it's always healthy and good to talk about what's going on and what are you doing, what am I doing, you help each other. Keep in mind that the ultimate objective is the good of the city. What we're trying to do is what's good for the residents of the city of South Fulton. One more thing let me throw in, and I mentioned it before, and this has to do with the situation with county development authorities coming into the city, whether it's downtown or somewhere else, and carrying out tax incentive projects, non-style projects, some people call them these purchases. House Bill 155 was passed and became effective. And long story short, what it does is to prohibit not just any authority, but a county development authority for what they call, what General Assembly calls, massively municipalized county to carry out a property tax incentive transaction within a part of the county that's basically north of the city of Atlanta. So they took care of the north side, and then a couple of projects been in the news, another one recently, where the city had adopted a resolution saying, counties basically, hey, put it this way, the county stay out. And that is obviously aimed at the development authority for the county. It has to be. It's the only county authority that can do it. But that was not done with respect to the south side. But there's no reason that it can't be done with respect to the south side. So the General Assembly has been in session since Monday. And there was some judge, it wasn't a Georgia judge, it was some other judge who said a long time ago that no person is likely to property or state while the legislature is in session. But they do have the opportunity to do good. And there are a lot of good people. I don't even kid them anymore. We need those legislators. There are a lot of good people down there. But there's a couple things that I expect to see have not happened yet, but I expect to see. an effort to fix that problem with the suitcase statute to let DEAs participate. And I would be very surprised if the leadership of in Southside County didn't step up and say, let's change this, change the statute to use the South Side and the North Side. Now that's policy, that's politics, that ain't legal. I can tell you what it's like. But it's up to the elected people and the citizens to say, we want this, we don't want it, or we care, or we don't care. But there is a pretty obvious situation where the North Side has got some protection. It's optional. The city doesn't have to say county state. They can. So there's a
excuse me, Dan, just for a second.
Be fairly free form.
Can Dan hear?
Dan, we have a question for you. Sorry.
Great. This is a great place for it.
Thank you, Dan. This is Adari Williams. Just real quick, I want you to, if you could, clarify that protection was initiated by the city, and then what roles did the development authorities play in participating to make sure that those protections were executed? What role did they play?
The volume is still low, and what I think I heard you ask, Pastor, was about, is it the city that acts under this provision under House Bill 155? Is that right?
You said the city initiated the protections, and what role? Can you hear me now? Okay. And what role did the development authorities take in helping to make that come to pass?
All right, so again, we're talking about House Bill 155, which says that under certain circumstances, county development authority cannot come into a city and do a tax incentive transaction, non-certified transaction. Then the answer to that is that the governing authority of the city where the property is located has to pass a resolution to limit the county development authority from operating within the city. So it's action taken by the city. The local development authority, the South Fulton DDA or South Fulton Development Authority, they don't have the ability to make that happen. And the city does now because the law doesn't extend that protection to the south side. But if the same laws change, reads the same way, set to cover both the north side and the south side, then it would be up to the city to take that action.
Thank you.
Sir.
Do we have any more questions from the authority? For Dan? Anything else? Okay. All right. Thanks, Dan, for your input tonight. The PowerPoint that you shared, I will make sure that it goes out to both authority members. I don't believe we got it in time to print it for everyone, but we will definitely share this and maybe have follow-up conversation, maybe a workshop or a work session that we can talk about maybe establishing the MOU or what's the next steps.
That's great. I really appreciate the chance to be here tonight. I'm proud of what's happening on the south side, and these are going to be good days for the city of South.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dan. We have one more.
Okay, sure.
Hey, Dan, it's Joyce. Can you hear me?
Yes, and I sure can.
All right, I grabbed the mic off. One of the things that we had discussed, thank you, first of all, for being here tonight. The do's and don'ts of both boards.
In terms of the duties of a director,
Yes.
well, yes, that's a very large subject. I would approach it this way,
Okay.
and you may have heard me say this in some presentations. To me, the most important role of a board member is to know the community, know what the community is ready for, know what it needs, know what it's ready to accept. You want to lead, but you don't want to get so far out ahead that you're by yourself. So when somebody comes in and we make presentations like this, or somebody comes in, a developer has a project and wants to get an authority to incentivize a certain type of project for the first time. And Look at any newspaper now and we'll see what top level project is that people are talking about. But if somebody is making that presentation, asking for incentive, making their case, there's a lot that goes into deciding whether to help or not. The merits of the project, what's the investment, what's the job, what's the capitalization, is a project likely to succeed, do they create jobs locally for the community, all of those things. But another overriding question is the community ready for this? If they're not ready, can you help them get ready for it? So I look at the board members and I say, you tell me, is this a project that we need to try to get? But if you go beyond that, the training is important. When I started out, we would literally feel to get in a van with a cooler and go around from place to place and do some training, not required. But now it's much more complicated. Training is required. And board members are called on to make very important decisions. I was at a authority meeting on the south side last night where we were talking about earmarking some money and the difference between earmarking, appropriating, and committing. And I said, this sounds like a meeting of Congress. And that sort of scary thing comes along, and the board members need to be prepared for it. You also need to be careful about conflicts of interest. You need to be careful about your interaction with media. You need to be careful about process and transparency. That is a very important thing. I've recommended several times in projects that we have public hearing, not required, that we have here to get public input if people want to know that their voices are heard. So I don't know if I responded to exactly what you had in mind, but
Yep.
that's what's on my mind.
You did. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more question. Stacy, did you have anything?
Yes, we do. Thank you so much. for
Stacy,
being-
could you speak inside to the mic? Thank you.
Okay. Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Since local policy essentially,
Speaking to the mic.
sorry,
Yeah. Mhm.
since local policy determines which authority has decision rights, right? And because South Fulton's borders are kind of
Sprawls.
unique. Unique. If there is an overlap in a specific area, right? How do we determine which authority has decision rights? Now, you mentioned, if it's a matter of working together and one authority can best serve that project, then so be it, work together with that. But when there's an overlap in an area, how do we look at that? How do we focus on that? How do we progress on that? But then also, should we determine if that should be in an IGA or in a charter?
Let me give you my thoughts on that. A lot of times, the first step will be take company or the developer. For one reason or another, that person will go to a representative of the DEA or a representative of the citywide authority. But you expect them to go to the city's economic development manager, who is, again, that's the city employee, that's the city's person to overall manage economic development. So some companies and some developers are knowledgeable enough to go to the city. And then that person might just make the decision. I'm going to send them to the DEA or I'm going to send them to the citywide authority. And that person will make that decision based on whatever calculus they got in their mind. In terms of don'ts, things not to do, we should not compete for projects, and we should not allow a company or developer to play us off against each other. They can't have somebody saying, if you won't issue bonds and the other authority will, you won't give us a better abatement schedule than the other authority will. We're we're colleagues. We're not competitors. And we can't let somebody from outside play us against each other. I mean, if you wanted to draw a, they're real alpha beta lines of demarcation that can be drawn. You could say that any project in the DEA's area is a DEA project, anything not is a citywide authority project, and that's easy to understand. But it might not be the right thing to do. And let's go back to what I said about why cities got into economic development, redevelopment in the first place. They developed the expertise either because government was coming to them, because they felt like they were neglected by the county and they had to do. And depending on where you were and what kind of project you saw, you developed expertise. You know, like the Dolphins got great expertise in textiles, that sort of thing. But if you look at it in terms of industry sectors today, it just may be one authority has done one or two projects of a particular kind. They speak the same technical terms as the company executive or the developer. Their chance of landing the project on beneficial terms are better because they've got expertise. Or it may be that some of these specialized tools that I've mentioned, public-private partnership, both the citywide authority and the DDA can do public-private partnership. The DDA, and I've done them both types of things. But if you have a need for governmental book taxes and bonds or something like that, you would probably find that to be easier to do, less technical to do through DDA. If you've got a need for a Citibank bond, contract revenue bond, maybe one authority has done that before and the other one hasn't, and there's some know-how that speaks to that. So I would start first of all with who got the project. Did the city get it, or did you walk in the door? And if we have a standing policy and he walks in the wrong door, we'll send him to the other door. But if we don't, then whose door is open and has to decide, are we better equipped to do this? Is it aligned with city policies supposed to do this? And do we have the experience to do it? And if it's not, we can send it to the other door. In my view, the option of success, which route has the best path forward for success for the city of South Florida?
Thank you, Dan.
Just my thought.
Any other questions for Dan tonight? If not, we can move on to the next item. And if you think of any further questions, I can definitely get those over to Dan. Thank you again, Dan, for joining us tonight. Your expertise.
Take care.
You too.
Bye for now.
I wanted to briefly pause before we move to the next agenda item. I know we've had some members to walk in. We also have our council member of District 4, JC Sebastian, to join us tonight. Councilman Sebastian, would you like to share a few words? Or?
Well, first of all, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year.
Good evening.
I'm all right. I'm following orders. All right, let's try this again. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And Happy New Year. I'm extremely thankful for you guys here in this room. I have said a lot of times we are 7 city council members and 1 mayor. We're not building this city alone. All of you guys who are in this room are key parts of that. And given how thirsty we are for economic development, y'all might even just be more important than us. But the bottom line is, the things that I've heard here, even as I came in for the last few minutes, are actually some of the questions I had in my mind, and I was hoping these are some of the things that y'all would have gotten to tonight. If y'all did not see the session on Tuesday, our work session, these topics actually came up, especially the issue of what happened on the north side and how we handled it on the south side. Did anybody here see that? Okay. But just to repeat, it is part of our legislative agenda packet for this year that we have given our delegation down under the dome to decide how we handle this issue. I've sat in 2 classes at GMA for the legislative update from 2025. And so I'm somewhat familiar with that case and what happened on the north side. For us on the south side, our consultant said we have a kind of couple different ways we could go. We could go as a city alone, and we could ask that basically our city be added into the code that was passed last year. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is we get our friends in our neighboring cities on the south side for all of us to go and put all our cities into that code. My understanding was it was not a standalone bill. It was something that was added to another bill, right? But nonetheless, it's the law. The other thought was, do we want to do something completely different, right? So those are the options that we have to consider. But honestly, something that was said very importantly tonight is that we, at the end of the day, we are a team. There are things that we can do as a city, and then there are things that the Development Authority of Fulton County can do to help not only us, but all the cities on the south side, even as we talk about some regional things. What I am concerned about is if there are too many deals cut on the south side of the county, using basically tax dollars from our schools, and we don't get our fair share, you know what we're going to be doing? We are going to be paying into those taxes, or they're going to be taken from schools that affect us, but we would not be the ones that benefit. So that's why it's important for us to play well together as a team and figure out how we work with all the authorities that run the footprint and decide exactly how we do these development and what best fit where, right? And of course, I'll be a little selfish to say with all the land that is out in my district, a lot of these projects might end up out here. So I do have a large interest to try and figure out. District 4 is the only district that has 2 school clusters in it, the Creekside cluster and the Langston Hughes cluster. So we have a lot of students out this way. And from my understanding, Fulton County is looking to build another school further down the parkway. So we'll even have more students. A lot of the housing development is happening. So again, thank you all so much for your service. And I'm here to continue to listen and learn.
Thank you, Councilman.
All right. In case you all have any questions, I'm here at the end.
Thank you. And we'll move to our Assistant City Manager for introduction.
Good evening. Pardon my tardiness. I had some business to handle with this cold weather system coming through. So we're prepared for helping our citizens during this time. And you'll hear about warming centers. Well, one warming center opening up. So be alert in the news and the social media announcements and press releases on what we're doing during this time. So stay warm. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you for your service, as Councilman Sebastian said. And my name is Carmen Davis again, Assistant City Manager, one of, and I'm here to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Isaac Gilma, outside counsel for this South Fulton Development Authority. I'm with McGuire Woods. I do have some thoughts about the legislation, but I don't think I need to. We could maybe discuss some of that offline.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks. Do we have anybody from the Downtown Development Authority? Darius, introduce. I think you came in after the introductions.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see everyone on this cold evening. Again, my name is Darius Rollins, and I serve as the Secretary of the South Fulton Downtown Development Authority.
Thank you. And from the Development Authority, anybody that just walked in?
Hey, y'all. I'm September Cooper, District 7.
Our newest member.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Nkosi Leary, District 1.
Thank you.
Teresa, we do have guests. If we could have, I know John, thank you for being here tonight and thank you for the comments. We want all of our guests to be recognized. Nayland Trevor, thank you for what you always do. And Moran Clark, thank you, because we couldn't do it without you all.
Thank you.
Now, guest, Mr. Crane.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Benny Crane. I live in District 3. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Benny. So going back to our agenda item, one of the points that I would like to actually get an opportunity to share just more informational is the public financing tool of the TAD. As you are aware, the Downtown Development Authority uses this incentive. So I wanted to, if our AV team can queue up the maps of the East Side and West Side TAD, so you can know what areas that actually falls in. And again, this is just for informational purposes. I know there's been discussion of where the TADs are exactly in the city. I did print a map for your records, but I can also send this document over to you as well.
This is also the interactive GIS map.
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Really
It
great.
is.
Thank you, Mr. Perlman. Okay, the East Side TAD covers Red Oak, Roosevelt Highway. It also covers Old National Commons, Old National Park, Old National, in the intersection of Old National and Jonesboro Road. It currently has, the number of parcels is 963, and the total acres is over 1,100. So that was the 2019 market value of the TAD. Again, this is when the TAD was actually established, relatively almost 4 years ago. The next one is the West Side TAD, which covers the Riverfront District, Sandtown, Town Center, and the historic Campbellton Crossroads. So that area actually covers a number of 337 parcels. Total acres is 4,732. And then you also have the 2019 market value. And so the QR codes are still able to download the actual redevelopment plan of the tax allocation district. So if you have further questions in regards to the TAD, again, just a reminder that I know we can't dive in too much, but you are more than welcome to attend the Downtown Development Authority meetings to actually engage in whatever opportunities that you can think of that is covered in those locations. So did we have any other further discussion in regards to the TAD? Okay, great. Go ahead.
Just for the Development Authority, and I think we all know this, but the DDA is the redevelopment, has been appointed
Yes.
by the city
Mhm.
as the city's redevelopment agent under the Redevelopment Powers Law to administer the TAD and provide grants, loans and other incentives from the TAD to developers.
Thank you, Isaac. Anything else, Danielle, that I may have missed?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay.
I will say to Mr. Poyland's point. So if anyone's ever wondering if a property is within East Side TAD, West Side TAD, there's an interactive GIS map. It's supported by, just has the same information that the Fulton County tax assessor has. And so you can just search that address and find out where it is.
Thank you, Danielle. Okay. Moving on to the priority development areas, just for time and purposes, I know that we had a lot, Dan shared a lot of information, so I won't dive too much in because I know we can't dive into our regular business. But as we're thinking about deals, as we're thinking about development, I wanted to redirect everyone back to our Sizemore plan that we actually went in depth with, finding out opportunities for developments in our catalytic sites. So you have those sites in your notebooks. We have the full plan that we can share with you electronically. But as we're thinking about development and future and our strategic planning as we're going through our board retreats and such. I just want to remind everybody of all those weeks where we did community engagement, both authorities was very involved, that these are the strategic areas that have been identified in our economic development plan, as well as the Sizemore plan. And that is the Old National Commons area. You have these slides are actually from the Sizemore, the information from the Sizemore plan. And Old National Park, as well as Crestwood, along Old National Highway, Tri-County Station, South Fulton Parkway, and then of course the Red Oak District. So just steering you back to those projects, development, and again, we can share the full plan with you that was also presented to the council. And so I just want to redirect us, and as we're thinking about collaborative opportunities, making sure that we are focusing on these catalytic sites. Also, you have in your PowerPoint, I won't dive into those, but right now, because of the sake of time, projects and the status of those projects with the South Fulton Development Authority, as well as the South Downtown Development Authority. Again, if you have any questions about these projects, more than welcome to attend the regular meeting, or you can email me so that we can provide any other in-depth answers or follow-up that you may have. But again, the discussion would be in regards to any collaborative opportunities. But I think each board has a significant project going on. Congratulations to the Development Authority on closing Project Donez this past December 2025. And congratulations to the Downtown Development Authority on the Hutch project. With how far we have come with the city, we are still working through the TAD portion of that, but congratulations on the Hutch project as well. And I wanted to move forward to the economic development update, where you will see that we are also getting ready to host, and this is in your PowerPoint, the economic development, the convention center study. We have a consultant that will be with us on January 21st and 22nd. Is Convention Sports and Leisure International LLC. They will actually cover an overall study of the opportunity for a convention center within the city of South Fulton. So we will take them on a city tour that show them the tourism assets, as well as the potential project development area. And they will meet with our council members. They will meet with external stakeholders. We have, of course, our tourism rock star, Ms. Mercedes Miller, will be a part of that conversation. And so we're really, really looking forward to this opportunity. ACM Davis, is there anything else you would like to share as far as them visiting with us?
No, I think you covered pretty much the gist of their visit. Although they're coming here for the site visit, and it's a very limited time, we wish we can squeeze everyone in to connect with them. But certainly during the process, we may be reaching out to different stakeholders to get their input or thoughts or questions that may be posed by the consultant. So we're looking forward to their information and seeing how the convention center study would fare for us in this market.
Thank you, ACM Davis. Okay, so we'll move to the next agenda item, which is the International Developers Reception for FIFA June and July World Cup. And James, would you like to share?
Yes. Coming up in July, between June, well, it's actually June through July, June 15th through July 15th, the World Cup is here in Atlanta, and there are 8 teams that are playing here as part of that in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And one of the thoughts we've been discussing among a few of us is somehow we have an international developers
reception in South Fulton to reach out to the consulates for each of these teams that are visiting the city and ask them about any developers that may be coming along, and then we just host a reception to give them a look at what's going on here in South Fulton. And as the DDA and the DA together, we host that together as a project. Your thoughts?
I think it sounds great.
Question, would that include a tour or?
If we can figure out the way to fit it in, that would be great. That would be great.
James, a couple weeks ago, Aerotropolis had this whole event about FIFA. And they had Dan Corso, who's over the Sports Authority, William Pate, who's the president of the CBB, all the key stakeholders and the people from WARDA. Well, they're sending out the presentation, and I'll forward it to you. But one of the people that I think that we need to contact is Stacy Key with the Georgia Minority. I have her information, but they also put all the key players from MARTA, from the Department of Transportation, from City of Atlanta. So I'll forward it to Teresa so she can send it to the board because they're sending out the presentation. So what they're trying to do now is pull the South Side in on what's going on with FIFA downtown, because downtown just got the information, so they're funneling it out to the other areas. So I was impressed that they came to the South Side and met in the Aerotropolis office. I think they're having another meeting in February, so stay on the lookout for that.
Thank you, Mercedes. As you know, I was at that meeting also. James, you and I talked about some of the collaboration and getting eyes and ears into the city, whether that is we talked about hosting maybe a watching event, reaching out to the consulates, absolutely, to understand, and we have the list of the teams. Just so you know, I think Mercedes, they mentioned Saudi Arabia is one of the teams.
They did, and when you're working on a watch party, let's get together because I am being the ATL district. We're going to host some in the different cities, and maybe we can do it in combination to what you're doing, so that we can make it one large event instead of several.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was just a side conversation I know Mr. Reese and I had about doing something like so. Absolutely, it would be done together. But to your point, James, right, reach out to the consulates. As you know, also, Mercedes, the reason I mentioned Saudi Arabia is because they are kind of expected to win. So that's going to be a large crowd.
Right.
So yeah, definitely getting them into the community to see from whatever country they're from, how they could connect to the South Fulton region, particularly the city of South Fulton, to see where they would like to partner, where they would like to work, play, live, work, play, as we often say. But this is a good time for us to evangelize the message of South Fulton. Was there anything else you wanted me to? Okay, thank you.
So I think from here, I think what we can do is pull together a committee to start working on this project. Members of the DDA as well as DA to get this project going, and we need to do it soon. So first meeting, we need to pull something together for February, first meeting together in February, so we can move this project forward. And once we get all the information from Mercedes and get it passed out, we can go forward from there. Okay, Teresa.
Great. Thank you, James. The next opportunity I wanted to present to both boards was South Fulton Developers Day in April. I think this would be an awesome opportunity for us to collaborate on hosting developers and brokers with a tour of our catalytic sites in the city of South Fulton, meeting with our council members, also having a panel discussion of all the public facing departments that actually support development, permitting, as well as the city management's office, of course, the economic development office, and any other resources that we can put together for that panel discussion. So right now you have a copy of the Sizemore proposal to host this Developers Day. They would, whoever we select to support this is the scope of work that will actually have that consultant to support us on. So to give you an example, Clayton County hosts several fantastic Developers Day, Brokers Day, tours. And so definitely want to bring sight to the city of South Fulton. We are open for business. We're built for growth is our campaign this year as we kick off our first South Fulton brokers reception right here in the city of South Fulton on January 28th within the partnership of Aerotropolis. So at the Southwest Art Center, and you will actually receive that calendar invite on tomorrow. We had to make a couple of edits on the flyer and Brian just sent it over to me, but we'll host over 120 to 150 brokers from all over the state. And so just like I said, just really looking forward to this opportunity. It's not been held in the city of South Fulton before. And so I was happy to have Shannon and his team actually reach out to us and say, hey, we want to do this right here. We want to, talk about your catalytic sites. We want to push the city of South Fulton in the front view. And so the follow-up to that event will be the actual the Developers Day. I am actually going to get another proposal from a consultant that has been working with our department as well. And so we were thinking that we could split the cost of the entire event with the consultant renting the bus and also, the food and other purchases. We would put together a budget for both authorities to review once we finalize which consultant would be better to assist us in bringing the right developers to our front door. We want to be very intentional about who has the best contacts and also can showcase the best of the city of South Fulton. And again, they will be using the Sizemore plan that has been identified. We will stay within those strategic areas, but also they will have more information about the overview of the city of South Fulton. So as James shared, we would have a steering committee. So I just wanted to have individuals from both the Development Authority and the Downtown Development Authority. If you would like to serve on those steering committees, we can work together to put together a fantastic tour and day in the city of South Fulton.
Very good.
It sounds good.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
I just have a simple comment. I hope this is the start of a regular cadence of those type of things, and not make them one-off things. I think there are things that need to go on the city's overall calendar too, so that we can all plan around them among all the other things that we do. Especially as a council and as a senior management for the city. And also, I'm assuming everyone is tracking what is happening with our comprehensive plan and future land use development here, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yep. And you should have the dates already for the next comp plan meetings. If you do not have those dates or that calendar invite, please let Nayla or myself know, and we'll get that over to you. Do we have any volunteers tonight, or do you guys want to respond in email of participating in the steering committee?
Sure.
For the Developers Day? Ms. Joyce?
I will as well.
There's John.
James, okay.
John.
Talking real slow.
No, I just go down.
Nathan. Yeah, Nathan.
Phyllis?
Yeah.
Yeah. James, I work with you also.
Oh, great.
Thank you, Darius. I'm glad you will work with me. Great.
Myself.
Stacy, okay. Got September. Did I miss anybody from the downtown? We have Ms. Joyce and Don. Did you raise your hand?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Teresa, you had me down.
No. Thank you. Thank you for all the volunteers. I know we're going to host a fantastic day and make sure that the city of South Fulton stays in the front of these developers and our site. We are well deserved of great opportunities of development. So thank you.
All right. The next item on our agenda is coming up with have a discussion about formalizing some kind of collaboration, MIU, or operating agreement between the two groups, and figuring out how to make that work for both of us to the advantage of the citizens and the city of South Fulton. And in that concept, I would think one of the things, because we're dealing with the TAD and we're dealing with citywide, we try to figure out And in my head, what I'm thinking, when we are dealing with developers coming to either authority, the idea is to push them to the ED and let them parse out and give them directions. And that's something that we all would agree works best for the city and works best for both of our organizations. And I think our agreement between us is more or less how we, in a sense, in collaboration, split costs on some things we may do together, as well as how we work with one another to make sure that we're getting the best deal for the city. Much like when something comes to us and it may fit you better, we may pass it off to you. Something comes to you may fit us better, you pass it off to us through the help of the ED doing that as well. And we discuss, big projects when they come. We need to come up with agreement that we have a discussion about it between the two. So that as Mr. McCray said, they don't pit us against one another and then end up running off to Fulton County to get the deal done. So that's something that, an MOU and some type of agreement, we just need to work together to get that done and get it done fast, within the next couple of months, because we got a lot that's going to probably pop up.
I also suggest adding to that MOU, and I know no one needs any more meetings. I know I don't, but that there be some kind of scheduled, continuous conversation that we do have so that these items can be discussed, frequently between us. Some kind of standing gathering, quarterly or whatever the case may be.
I agree. Anyone else?
No, I agree as well.
I just have what's like. I'm just trying to understand what's going to be in this MOU. Is it just a general agreement to collaborate, coordinate?
Yes.
Maybe recognizing that the DDA is the redevelopment agent handling the TAD matters, recognizing its borders, the central business district, and then just keeping it more general so as to not tie your hands. I think it sounds like, and you may do a 2026 MOA and then you may see how things go and then we can modify it.
I think it should be a living document in that sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should definitely be a living document.
Sounds like you just wrote it up right there.
So once I don't know if you want how you want to coordinate it. I mean, you can have your lawyers put it together.
Of
That's
course,
one option.
that's what you guys do.
Without a doubt.
So it sounds like we've got an idea.
Yeah, we have an idea. I actually thought I'd sent Danielle my notes about it, but between yourself and Danielle, we trust you all to make sure we're good on that end.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
We've talked about this a real chicken and the egg situation. Depends where the door originally got opened. And I think the Hutch is a perfect example.
Yeah.
They went to you guys first. I don't know if they came through the ED office, which was Artie Jones at the time. If he said, go talk to them as opposed to talk to us, there's a geographical difference, and now they're with Fulton DDA. Fulton covers everything. You guys cover a whole lot of big area, and we have a certain targeted area. And so, it may make the most sense that there's an understanding that if it's geographically in the TAD, at least they start talking with us. Right. If they're not even in our area, they start talking to you. They don't need. There's no reason for them to talk to us.
So TADs, if it's a TAD, I mean,
right.
if it's TAD funding that they're seeking, they have to go to the DDA.
Right.
No, I know that, but the Hutch deal wasn't actually TAD funding.
But was it in the central business district?
It was in our central business district.
So that's,
but it was a different thing, and they wound up not. They didn't like whatever you offered. They didn't like.
Yeah.
They eventually decided they didn't like we offered. And then they went running to Fulton County.
So just to piggyback on what you said and what Dan said, I'll say I work with Dan a lot. We're usually on opposite sides. When he's representing the development authority, I'm representing the developer. But what we see is there's a race to the bottom. So a developer will negotiate, will start at Invest Atlanta, and then go to DAF, the Development Authority of Fulton County.
Yeah.
And then they'll just pit one against the other, and then just try to extract whatever they can extract.
Sure.
And go with the easiest, less lowest fees or whatever. But
yeah,
whether it's compliance monitoring or other requirements or community benefits, they try to just provide the least amount to the community. And again, it's a race to the bottom, and that happens between county and city development authorities like DAF in South Fulton, and it can happen between DDAs and DAs. So it's just developers are playing games. And
how do you avoid it?
I think if I may suggest, so to Dan's point, so obviously there is a jurisdictional area and that open line of communication. So if there is a project that is brought to the development authority and it is within the DDA area, that the DDA is notified of this project. The same way that, we're trying to get, or I think the city of South Fulton, as well as, I know we talked about it on our call previously, get that legislation passed so that Fulton County gets consent from the city of South Fulton before they come in and do any tax abatements. It could be the same thing where it's saying, hey, we have this project in this area. Is this okay? Do you have your sites on this plot? And then that I think could solve a lot of the competition, because there really shouldn't be competition between boards.
Right.
And I think that MOU, if it just outlines that, obviously nothing with an MOU, it doesn't have to be binding. This is more of like a collaborative effort. So,
James, am I mistaken? But Hutch is the only bill that we really had an issue.
Right.
And we didn't know that we didn't know that Hutch had come back to you all until we saw it on the report. Because we thought Hutch had gone away. So again, that's just a lack of communication on both sides. Yeah.
And we never even knew Hutch came to you all.
See,
Hutch existed.
But they should have never come to us initially. They should have come to you all.
Yeah. Just again, piggybacking on what you said, just making sure the ED, if a developer contacts us, first line of contact is to our economic department.
Right.
And then they decide
where,
based on the knowledge they have, where that project goes.
Yeah.
And then to Danielle's point, we're just a phone call away or email, hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this and see, in certain cases, we may be working together on it. But we're colleagues and we will not be pitted against each other.
Exactly.
Whatever we do is for the good of the city.
Yes, ma'am.
The people have spoken with the strategic plans. The council folks are out. ACMs are out having these meetings. We're going to be in those meetings. We're deciding which ones, but we want to show up. We want to show up as a unit, DA, Downtown Development Authority, so they can see the power and the support that the city has.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If I can add, in all of these things, it makes so much sense, right? We spoke about meeting and having a regular cadence, but we all know that schedules can be kind of difficult, right? I wonder if we could essentially do maybe like a quarterly DA and DDA meeting or joint meeting, but perhaps we could do a monthly development report. And it doesn't have to be anything major. It could just be something that from one board to the other, this is what we're considering. This is what has essentially come across our desk, right? So that if there is some sort of overlap or whatever, we're all in the know. I just wonder if that is enough.
Question, do you mean projects only when you say the report? Is that more comprehensive report or just projects or?
It could just be projects, if we just have the developer's name or maybe even a plot that someone is looking at. But at least we're sharing information.
So, one of the items that our team is working on is interest forms. So if a prospective developer or so forth would like to do business within the city of South Fulton, whether it be for the Development Authority or the DDA, they will have just a general description of what each authority does, and then just a preliminary interest form to let us know what the type of project it is. And then if it wants to go to the Downtown Development Authority, they'll get that information. And then if they reject that development or whatever the case may be, we can establish a protocol of that information being shared with the Development Authority. This is the reason why. This was the outline of why that project was rejected and the date and all that. So just that communication going back and forth between both the authorities, our team will take the responsibility of making sure that that happens moving forward. But the best way to do that is to document, because again, when that particular project came to you, they had the project is totally different from what it was when it was presented to the DDA.
Yeah.
So just having that information on hand with the general interest, this is what they came, because sometimes, with both authorities, you'll send that project back. Go ahead, get your stuff together. We don't want this. This is not what we were this is not our vision for development. And then they'll come back, and instead of going to the Development Authority meeting just because they was rejected by the DDA, we would have that interest form before they're even on the agenda, and also making sure that the chairs know or whether or not to approve that agenda item through those interest forms. So that is another tool that we're going to be utilizing moving forward.
Awesome.
Another level of communication would be that me and Madam Chair would work together and communicate the items to each other and work with the boards to get those items distributed.
I was going to suggest exactly that.
Yeah,
Speaking as the only developer in the room, we don't have a month to wait for one group to say, not so much.
Right.
The ability to get a quicker, decision helps things. These things need to move with a much quicker pace. So I think the entry form, the decision, the sharing of the entry form, even if you share it with both chairs, then they both know what's going on.
Right.
And you know that something's heading in a certain way or the other way.
Right.
Teresa, question. And thank you for that. I think everybody was thinking the same thing, that in addition to great input, Stacey, in addition to whatever the periodic joint meeting is, at the minimum, the president's chairs should have the regular conversation.
Correct.
What I was going to say is, and don't throw anything with me because I don't want to create additional work. But definitely, getting the information out. But if there was a way to create kind of a dashboard for this group to see what comes in, where projects track, give us a place to do input. So when we're out, doing our thing in our local coffee shops, we could just check the dashboard or get an alert that, hey, there's something here that you need to see, whether it comes from you or whether it comes from the head of each board.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, but I have to actually let the attorneys let me know of what information can be shared on a type of site like that. And then also due to Open Records Act, have to make sure that our IT company our IT department also knows about this particular platform and make sure that it does not conflict with city policies and open records.
I was going to add to that. That's a good point, because a lot of times people come in initially with confidential information. Sometimes right now we're struggling with signing NDA.
Yes.
They're making us do these things, so we can't say things, and it's sometimes necessary. So we want you to understand that it's not as simple as just making sure and sharing information. But one thing that the staff is very good at, and if you noticed in the last year, we're being very transparent of the activities that are happening. They're giving reports. They're sharing them with each group. And so I think that information is already happening. But if there's a way to enhance it or improve how that goes out, certainly we're open to it. But we share as much as we can.
Yes.
Quick question, because I know there in the past was discussions of having one joint incentive application for the entire city. Is that still in the works?
I'm not
I'm
aware.
not aware of that. Yeah.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
we discussed it at a few of our meetings.
Yeah.
And so whether that might also be something that is beneficial, because for both boards, we offer different incentives, and having that one application go through the economic development office aside instead of directly to a board might ease the collaboration.
That leads
like
me
that.
to, that's a great idea. That leads me to, as part of our Developers Day, is building a flow chart for them to understand where they need to go first. As opposed to coming to our board or going to the city council members, they need to go to the development office first before anything else is done. That way, it keeps us out of the middle of everything, that keeps the council out of the middle of everything. They do the job that they're hired to do.
Right. We actually had a situation like that happen without mentioning the name of the project, but now it's crickets because we did just that. We directed them back to economic, because I think Darius, you were on the call with, I asked so many questions, I don't think they wanted to talk to me. But it was forwarded back to Teresa. And we, and even when the Hutch project came, when we found they were at the place where we're ready to get this deal done, we ready to sign this. But, when we received it, I've never seen this, so I'm not signing anything I don't know anything about. So we need to go back to economic development and let's talk about where we go from here. But I'm not signing anything.
Exactly. So we've covered most of the communication and coordination framework. I think we did a lot of that without even announcing it. So we can move to the events, conference, and training.
Yes.
Teresa.
Before we move to that, James, I wanted to address, there were several questions that were emailed to me that did not get an opportunity to be a part of the agenda. So I just want to direct time for each board. Here's your opportunity for those questions to be given. And again, we cannot go too in depth when it comes down to the projects.
Any questions?
Any questions?
I'm reviewing my list right now because we covered so much. Yeah, because I was the one that sent in like 10 bullet points.
I don't have any questions.
Yes, ma'am.
I will say, just to piggyback again on one thing that Dan said about working together, I think there a lot of authorities, there's like mission creep, where you just kind of, not you, not these authorities, but what I've, based on my experience doing incentive deals across the U.S., is that these authorities are creatures of the city. So we are the big city team. So I think that's just important as you do deals or incentives, is to always remember the city created us. The city appoints our board members, and we're separate legal entities, but we operate for the betterment of the citizens, and we operate on behalf of the city of South Fulton. So I think that's just important to remember.
I think that's a great point. I represent other development authorities as well, and the most successful ones are the ones that have the best relationship with their cities, the most effective ones, and so excellent point.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you, James. Based on what was just said, and I think I heard elements of it tonight, but even this whole idea of incentive stacking, right? With the right type of projects, then entities can work together to provide the best deal for a developer and the best deal for the city so that everyone wins. So we don't have to be either or. Sometimes it's a combination of both. Sometimes a combination of one of you with Fulton County, sometimes a combination of you all together, sometimes a combination of the other one with Fulton County, right? But that is possible. And I know we haven't gone into training yet, but I learned a lot of this from doing the Downtown Development Authority class at GMA. And I think, James, I sent you some stuff last year basically saying, if we don't bring those people that teach that course in, then members of this group probably need to attend that course that GMA does.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments, questions?
The question that I had, we've talked about it all evening. And that's basically how we can work together and distribute incentives as a group.
Thank you, Phyllis. Stacy, anything else?
Do we have anything online? I believe Dana was online. Any questions?
Did Dana have any questions?
Hi, I don't have any questions,
Yes.
but I've
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
So I don't have any questions, but I do want to thank everyone who was involved in us getting here tonight. It's been a long time coming. I look forward to us working together, whether we do a joint incentive form or application, or just running things off of each other just to make sure we are working together. I did learn a lot from Dan's presentation regarding the difference between the city, the county, and the downtown district. So that makes me feel like I know a little something today. I was actually en route. I had another meeting to go to. I was left that with Councilwoman Pritchett. So if you guys are at the end, then I guess I will stop driving toward you. But I just thank you. I will look forward to getting the presentation from Dan so that I can have what he actually said in writing. I can see what laws he's referring to.
Thank you, Dana. And we'll share that presentation that he spoke of. Okay. That's it. So the conference is in training. So I wanted to make sure that everybody is provided a list so we can continue 2026 with South Fulton taking over that trend. So again, January 23rd through the 22nd, GMA 2026 Cities United Summit is at Omni ATL Hotel. The South Fulton's Brokers Reception, that information and invitation will go out to you tomorrow. Look forward to having both authorities representing and interacting, sharing our catalytic sites with also comments from both of our chairs. I haven't told you this yet, but both chairs will have a speaking opportunity at the event. Our homegrown housing local solutions for Georgia housing needs, March 11th. The Georgia Chamber of Commerce State of Economic Development. I would like for us to start participating with the ATL Chamber of Commerce and the Georgia Chamber of Commerce so we can keep involvement and knowledgeable of what's going on within the state and within the region when it comes down to small business. And then also the Georgia Economic Development Association workshop that will be held at the Westin Savannah Harbor on April 29th through May 1st. Again, Nayla will be sending out this information to everyone, making sure we have all the links. I believe some of us have already replied to some of these opportunities. I look forward to, again, thank you, Councilman Sebastian, for talking about GMA. We definitely will look at their schedule of training because understanding how our municipality operates is very pivotal for us to operate as authorities as well. So thank you for sharing that so that we can get those trainings on the schedule as well. Okay, thank you. Will do. If there's nothing else, and Moran, we'll also make sure that those links get over to you as well. If there's any information that we you don't have. Yes, ma'am.
I saw a slide on the facade grants.
Yes, ma'am.
We're giving out with those small businesses. Did they send pictures and the things that they actually did at their business?
Yes.
So we could actually see that the result of what the city
Yes.
did to help them get those grants.
Yes, absolutely. So the Development Authority is in the process of launching their website. And so the facade grant information will be located there, as well as you can see a before and after of the awardees and the improvements that they made. Some of them made significant improvements with signage, with their facade, as well as actually putting plants and greenery outside of their businesses, so to make it more welcoming. So it was just a huge opportunity. We have until I think it's March this year for the remaining funds to be distributed. And so we're working with those businesses to have that completed, but we're really excited about that opportunity.
Do we have any, do we have any items for executive session?
Not unless there's some type of joint property acquisition opportunity or potential litigation.
At that point, I think we can adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Great meeting. Good meeting.
We have to go to adjourn.
I'm doing it with safety.
Y'all should let me adjourn every